This conference will now be recorded.
In the last session, we created financial statement version, in short FSV. We configured P&L account, P&L, and we verified profit loss amount from our manual calculation. Whatever the manual calculated profit loss we got, we are able to see the same number from the SAP based on our financial statement version config. And as we did yesterday, P&L is straightforward. It's a direct debit and credit calculation. The difference between debit and credit, in short, difference between your expenses and your income will result either profit or loss. Same thing we have seen yesterday. We have verified the number with our manual calculation. We got exactly the same number from SAP. Now let us define balance sheet. Let us define balance sheet from the financial statement version. How normally we will be defining balance sheet in SAP. Before we define balance sheet in SAP, we need to understand how balance sheet is prepared. Before we define balance sheet, first we need to understand how balance sheet is prepared. What will be the different scheduled available in balance sheet? Normally, when you prepare any balance sheet, there is no concept called debit credit. You don't put debit, you don't put credit on the balance sheet. It is purely based on liabilities and assets. You always treat balance sheet account based on asset or liability, not based on debit credit. Because the moment you cross P&L, there is no concept of debit credit. It's all about account wise asset liability. You will be segregating based on the nature of account, whether this is an asset or this is a liability. Now, before I define the balance sheet, let me write in balance sheet you have two names. One thing you call it as liabilities, the other one you call it as assets. In some companies, the liabilities are also called as another name. What is the alternative name for liabilities? Any idea what is the alternative name for liabilities? Similarly, alternative name for assets? What is the other name of asset and liability?
Current assets, current liability.
No, that is within asset.
For liability, it is equity, I guess.
No, equity is again the category of liability. Liability is also called as
Payables.
sources of funds. Correct? Now, asset is nothing but application of funds. Anybody heard these names before?
Oh, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fund flow statement.
Yeah. So liability is also called as sources of funds. Asset is also called as application of funds. Now, when you define your liabilities or when you define your sources of funds, when you define your asset or application of funds, you need to know the different categorization between assets and liabilities. Now, this categorization is predefined according to the accounting principle. If you follow according to Indian Companies Act, Indian Companies Act will have a strict format. On the same format, you need to define or you need to design your balance sheet. If you follow IFRS, IFRS also will have the fixed balance sheet format. According to that format, you need to design your balance sheet. And when you submit your balance sheet to any stakeholder or to the any auditor, if you are submitting the balance sheet to the internal management of your organization or to the external stakeholders or to the auditors, you need to make sure your balance sheet is presented in a proper format according to the respective accounting principle. If you're talking about Indian Companies Act, according to Indian Companies Act, whatever the format you have, in the same format you need to design your balance sheet. The headings, side headings, totals, subtotals, everything will have to be according to the predefined guidelines as per accounting principle. This accounting principle balance sheet format, you will get it from your client. Your client will provide you the balance sheet format. On the same format, you need to design the balance sheet on financial statement version. Similarly, when you look at the balance sheet, make sure you understand the balance sheet format first, how the balance sheet is prepared, and what we are doing to tally the balance sheet. Balance sheet on its own will not tally. Balance sheet will always get tallied based on the P&L result. Correct? By default, balance sheet will not tally. Balance sheet will be tallied based on your P&L result, which means P&L result will play a major role in your balance sheet. If you do not consider P&L result into the balance sheet, you will never be able to match assets with liabilities. Your P&L result is always represented on the liabilities side in the balance sheet. Correct? You should always represent P&L result on the liability side of the balance sheet. Whatever the P&L result that you get, this is called as your retained earnings. Is that right? Whatever the amount you get in your P&L, that is called as profit or loss. This profit or loss from your P&L is always represented in the retained earnings account of your balance sheet. Now, when you look at your financial statement version, you need to pay attention on this retained earnings. In short, the profit loss figure arriving from the P&L account. First, let me pull out the financial statement version that we have designed yesterday. I will just show you the output of financial statement version. We have extracted the financial statement version in f.01. Let me go to f.01. I'll give company code PNIN. Financial statement version defined was PNIN, and our postings took place in period number 6. Comparison, as of now, I'll give period number 6 only because we do not have any data in period number 5. Or you can always give comparison data of last month or same month last year. Let me click on ALV tree control, click on execute.
Here we don't have date wise, sir.
Here we don't have
Date wise. Period
date
wise it is
wise.
coming.
Correct. Date wise PNL, date wise balance sheet is not extracted. If you want date wise PNL, date wise balance sheet, we have to customize the report. Because normally your PNL, trial balance sheet are month end reports. So they are always executed on the month closing date.
Okay.
If we have any specific requirement like that, we need to modify the report. We need to copy this, make a custom report with Z, and there you need to input the date. You need to input the key date here, and system will extract the balances based on that particular key date, open balances. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now this is your balance sheet output. We were getting 1,11,000 profit on the balance sheet. Sorry, on your PNL. You need to always have clear understanding on how you will decide whether this is profit or this is loss. You are not supposed to have any confusion here. If you look at any PNL result in negative, any PNL result negative will always represent you got profit. Any PNL resulting positive number which represents you got a loss. Make sure you are able to differentiate between PNL profit, PNL loss, because majorly any PNL statement that you look at for any client in your real environment from the system, that will always result a negative number. That will always result a negative number. Don't assume that negative number is a loss, because negative number is always a profit. Majority of the people will have confusion here. And sometimes in your interviews, people might create confusion at this level to you. So if you're getting confused here, so it'll sound very bad that you're unable to identify what is profit, what is loss. Forget about SAP FICO. So these kind of a small points you have to pay attention at. Now P&L, any doubts, any questions on the P&L that we did yesterday before we proceed to balance sheet? This is simple, straightforward. Whatever the GL account balances that you have, straight away system will take all your expenses, it will take all your incomes and it will calculate profit or loss. Now what is the profit loss you got here? 1,11,000. Is this profit or loss?
Profit.
Profit, sir.
Profit.
This 1,11,000 is called as profit. Normally for your P&L result, is there any accounting posting or there is no accounting posting? For this 1,11,000, will there be any posting in the accounting or there will be no posting in the accounting?
There will be postings. Paid.
There will be posting, but there will be no posting. Let me first, before we understand what is this, whatever the result that you are getting from your P&L, this will go to which account? Balance sheet account. When it goes to balance sheet, in balance sheet, where do you represent, in which account?
Retained earnings account.
You will take into the retained earnings account in the balance sheet. Now retained earnings account you would have configured somewhere.
Yes, sir. OB53. OB53.
If I go to OB53, sorry, OB53, chart of account is DEGR. Retained earnings account that is configured or that is updated here is 221 all zeros. Let me copy this GL account and I'll go to FAGLL 03. Let me open FAGLL 03. I will input this GL account number and I'll input company code DEIN as on current date. If I try to run the report, let us verify if this will give us any balance. Is this giving any balance? It says
No, sir.
no items selected. Your FAGLL03, in short, GL account line item display will provide the data only if there is any financial posting. If there is no posting, there will be no line item in this account. You will get the line item only when you post a transaction, correct? If there is no posting, there is no line item. Currently on the retained earnings account, there is no posting, but when you prepare the P&L, you are able to see a profit of 1,11,000. When you prepare the P&L, you are able to see profit of 1,11,000. But when you pull the GL line item report, there is no balance which is appearing on the line item report. Let me go to this line item report again. If you see here, there is no amount which is appearing. What I will do, let me open one more screen. What is the report to check the GL account balance? FA,
Underscore PL. GLL03.
FAGLB03. Let me go to FAGLB03. Here I will input that retained earnings GL account and I'll input fiscal year 2023. Right, we are checking the P&L for current month, which is 2023 fiscal year. I'll put retained earnings account, company code, fiscal year 2023. Let me run this report. Is this giving any balance?
No data, sir.
No data means there is no balance updated in this GL account. Point number one that you need to remember is you will be preparing P&L on a monthly basis, correct? You will be preparing P&L on a monthly basis. Yes, no, agree?
Yes, sir.
and every month you will get some amount as profit, either loss or profit. Every month when you receive profit or loss from your P&L, there will be no financial entry for the profit loss that is generated from your P&L. System will not pass any accounting entry for your profit, for your loss. This is just a calculated figure. This is just a calculated figure, always a real-time running number. When I say real-time running number, the moment you pass any expense or the moment you pass any income, in short, the moment any transaction is posted to the P&L account, the retained earnings account, in short, the profit or loss is automatically updated by the system. So that is why this is called as calculated figure or running balance by the system. Automatically your profit loss is updated. This profit or loss is represented in retained earnings in the GL account. Correct? In your financials, you will be showing this as retained earnings. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Retained earnings account is what you are going to represent your P&L profit or P&L loss. Now, during the month, when you run the P&L, when you run the balance sheet, you are able to see the profit loss figure, but when you check the retained earnings GL account, there is no account balance updated on the retained earnings GL account. Even though this account is updated on your OB53, currently there is no balance which is appearing. Why? Because your retained earnings account will always get updated only when you perform year-end activity. In short, whenever you carry forward balances from one year to the another year. In short, 2023 is your current fiscal year. You will carry forward 2023 balances to 2024 in the month of December. Correct? In the month of December, once you close your December period, you will be performing year-end activity. At that time, you will be moving balances from year 2023 to year 2024. At that time, when you perform the GL account balance carry forward or balance carry forward activity, your retained earnings GL account will be updated with the P&L figure. Till then, there will be no amount updated. Clear? Currently, if you look at the FAGLB03, if I run this, is there any balance or there is no balance? One sec. Okay. So point number one, for your P&L result, there will be no accounting entry. Point number two, for your P&L result, the balance is going to get updated in the retained earnings GL, or it will show in the retained earnings account only when you perform year-end activity or the balance carry forward. Are these 2 points clear? When your profit will get updated, whether there will be any accounting entry for it or not?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the financial statements are produced at the end of the year or every quarterly?
Every monthly.
Okay, so we created these are profit and loss and balance sheets every quarterly, na, in the real-time projects.
No. These are prepared on a monthly basis, not quarterly basis. Because every month you need to close the financials.
Yes, sir.
So this will be the month-end activity, not the quarterly or the yearly. Even if you wanted to close for a particular quarter, your quarter is nothing but 3 months.
Yes, sir.
So I have to perform my month-end activities on a monthly basis. Once my month-end activity is completed, what I will do, I will find out whether I got profit or loss for a particular month.
Correct, sir.
So once I find out whether I am getting profit or loss, next thing what I will do, I will generate my balance sheet. But you may not be verifying your balance sheet on a monthly basis. But yes, you will be generating balance sheet also on a monthly basis. But P&L is a mandatory report for every month. Normally, everybody calls it as MIS reporting. When somebody is talking about MIS reporting, they are preparing financial statement, in short, profit and loss account. Clear?
Sir, what are the list of reports comes under MIS?
MIS is nothing but your P&L only, finding out whether you are getting profit or loss. But before you generate MIS, you have to perform various month-end activities like ensuring that all the transactions, in short, data entry is completed, various other monthly postings, provisions, or any other things like depreciation, foreign currency valuation, translation, doubtful debts, any other outstanding prepaid accumulations will have to happen. Once you make sure all the transaction posting is completed for a particular month, you will prepare the P&L statement. You would have heard something called month-end activities or month-end checklist.
Yes, sir.
This month-end checklist is the prerequisite for preparing your MIS report or P&L. Before starting month-end activities or before starting month-end checklist, you need to ensure data entry for a particular month is completed. So you have to freeze the data entry. In short, you will not allow any users to pass the entries. Once you reach the cutoff date, you will communicate to all the users data entry for this particular month has been freezed. Or you will send a circular to all the users in an email on so and so date, let's say 26th June. You are going to close the month. You will inform that on 26th the month will be closed or period will be closed for data entry, which means 26 until the calendar changes to 27, nobody can pass the entry in June month. The moment it passes to the next month, nobody is supposed to pass the entry. Even if somebody is posting the entry, you can easily figure out. Correct? When the entry was posted, on what date, at what time, who posted the entry, you can easily figure out from the display document list. Once you freeze the data entry, you will start performing month-end activities like posting of depreciation, interest calculations, all these kind of things. Once everything is posted, you will be generating the MIS report or P&L report. This P&L report, whatever you generate for a particular month, you will submit this P&L report for the review to the management, maybe to your CFO or maybe to the finance director, or somebody will review this P&L or this MIS report. Once they review and once they say that okay, this is fine, then you will completely close that particular month. Otherwise, when you submit this report to the management for a review, they might come back with certain corrections, because they might see there is a huge P&L impact due to certain reasons. They might ask you to investigate why there is a huge hit in P&L, from where these entries are coming and all. They might ask you to perform certain adjustment entries to make sure that your P&L looks fine or the figures are reasonable, figures are convincing enough. Once you finalize the P&L report, which means once you receive the OK approval for your MIS report, you will completely close the month. But till then, you will be keeping the month open, but postings will be made by the limited users. Clear?
So the data freeze in the the real time real project, the data freeze is happened during the month and means for example this is the month of June. So around 26 or 27 it gets happened, right? The data freeze.
No. For every company, there will be a policy.
Okay.
For every company, there will be a policy. Let's say they might close the month, maybe next month, 5th working day, or next month, 5th calendar day, or 7th working day, 3rd working day, something like that. Every company will have a cutoff date. Within that cutoff date, you have to close it. If you are not closing the month, you are not finalizing the MIS or P&L by that date, your period will get closed. And you will have to get the approval from corporate accounting or corporate finance teams, giving them the reason for delay, why you are unable to close the month on time. Once they approve, then you will be opening the period again. Because if your entries are pending, if certain postings are still under review, you will not be able to finalize the MIS, correct?
Yes, sir.
So for any reason, if you're unable to close within the predefined or within the cutoff time, you have to obtain the corporate finance or corporate accounting approvals. Because there is something called consolidation. All the company codes information will be consolidated and the consolidated financial statements will be prepared. If you have, let's say, 10 company codes, every company code will have to submit their financials before 5th of every month. So when I say 5th, let's say I'm talking about 5th calendar day. The moment calendar shifts from 5 to 6, so on 6th, I'll be submitting my financial reports at corporate level. In short, consolidated reports. 5th is the deadline for all my 10 company codes. For any reason, if any of the company codes is unable to produce the P&L or unable to close their month by 5th, they have to take the approval from the corporate finance to make sure that they complete it. Otherwise, it will not be done. Because all your consolidations will either happen on BPC or any other third party tools. So there what you will do, you will be extracting trial balance from SAP. You will take trial balance from your SAP and you will upload the trial balance into BPC system or any other third party system. In that third party system or in your BPC system, you will have to extract the data. You will not be extracting the data. You will not be extracting the data after 5th. So in short, whatever is posted until 5th, you will extract. Otherwise, your user will not be able to upload the data to the third party system. It says an error message stating period is locked or period is closed. They have to get the approval and request the BPC team to enable the data uploading option. The same way that you close the period for your finance postings, in the similar way in BPC there is a period closing. They will lock the period for certain company codes on after 5th. So after 5th, which means on 6th, once the calendar becomes 6th, nobody will be able to upload the data because you have reached the cutoff time and you need to provide me the approval in order to get the option to upload the trial balance again. Okay.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So this is about your P&L. Now I was trying to show you the GL account balance for retained earnings account. Retained earnings account, when we try to run the report, we are not getting any balance. We understood this is because of year-end carry forward. Only when you perform balance carry forward or when you move the data from one year to another year, retained earnings account will get updated. For performing year-end activity or balance carry forward, there is one transaction. What is that? Where do you migrate or move data from one year to another year? What is it? FHEL?
GBTR.
FHEL, GVTR. And I'll put ledger 0L and I'll put company code D. Sorry, my mistake. Sorry, I'm checking the report in the wrong company code. We have to check in PNIN. Okay, let me run the report for PNIN first to make sure that there is no balance. Even in PNIN, we are unable to see any balance in the retained earnings account. We understood only when you perform balance carry forward, retained earnings account will show the balance. Let us do it. Balance carry forward, leading ledger, company code PNIN, and we want to carry forward balance to year 2024. Test run, and this should always remain as it is. The way you are seeing, in the same way you need to keep it. You are not supposed to tick the remaining two. You keep only the last one, store original PNL account, keep test run at the beginning, click on execute. Let us see what balance it will display. Here it is showing you one account called retained earnings. This retained earnings is showing the GL account as 221 all zeros. What is the amount in the retained earnings?
1,11,000.
1,11,000. Now, is this the same balance that you got in your P&L?
Yes, sir.
Right? 1,11,000 is the profit you got. When you are moving the data from one fiscal year to the other fiscal year, you will receive the same balance. Now, as a mandatory checklist at the end of your fiscal year, when you are migrating, when you are moving data from 2023 to 2024, 2 points you need to validate. Point number one, you need to check what is the balance in retained earnings GL account. Point number two, what is the profit loss that you are finding from the 12th period in your P&L account. In your P&L account, if your balance is 1,11,000 for the last period, if you are not using special period, period number 12 balance, if you are using special period, period number 16 balance, must agree with your balance carry forward retained earnings GL account. System will find out this retained earnings GL account balance based on a simple logic. It will take all your P&L accounts, it will take all your P&L debits, and it will take all your P&L credits. In short, sum of all your P&L account balances will be displayed as retained earnings account. Clear? Sum of all your P&L accounts will be displayed as retained earnings GL account balance. What I will do, I'll go to GL account balance report. This is my GL account balance report. Our P&L account range starts from 3 series to 4 series in general. I'll take 3 followed by all zeros and 4 followed by all nines. Are these P&L accounts correct? These are my P&L accounts. Let me execute this report for year 2023. If I look at the year 2023, this is the sum of all your P&L GL account cumulative balance. If you want to see the respective account wise balance, you need to click on individual account here. If you click on individual account, this will give you all the GL accounts. Whatever the GL account you select, that particular GL account balance will appear. Not selecting any particular, this is the total of all your GL accounts. If you look at period number 6, in period number 6, debit posted is 0, credit posted is this one. Sorry, it has got selected this one. Let me select star. In period number 6, there is a debit posting of 6,39,000 and there is a credit posting of 7,50,000. Balance in period number 6 is 1,11,000 and this is your cumulative balance. In short, this is your January profit. Here you will get January profit. Here you will get February profit. Now in the month of January, this is your January profit alone. In the month of February, this is your Jan plus February profit. In the month of March, this will be Jan Feb March profit. In the month of April, this will be Jan to April profit. Likewise, here in the month of 6, this balance is your for the month balance. This is called for the month balance. This is called YTD balance, year to date balance. Clear? What is balance for the month? What is balance year to date? These two terms you will frequently hear from your client, from your user, especially when it comes to reporting. Here also you are able to see the same number 111,000. Now everywhere you are able to get the same P&L result. Next one, retained earnings account, also you are able to see the same amount. I will go back. Let me remove the test run. I'll click on execute. Now the test run has been executed. You are able to see the retained earnings GL account. Amount is 111,000. Now, when did we perform this? During the year or at the end of the year? When this activity is performed?
And after.
At the beginning of the year or at the end of the year?
At the end of the year.
This will be performed at the end of the year, which means this activity is performed for fiscal year 2023 ending. Now, after performing this balance carry forward in update run, let me verify GL line item report FAGLL03. It does not have any postings. Let me check all items also. It does not have any posting. Next one, I'll go to GL account balance report. Here let me input retained earnings GL account. I am giving the fiscal year 2023. Let me click on execute. Is there any balance? Is there any balance? No balance. When you perform year-end activity, balances are moved from which year to which year? Balance is moved from 2023 to 2024. Let me run the report for 2024 and then verify. If I run the report for 2024, am I able to see the balance?
Yes.
Retained earnings
Yes.
account is giving you the balance for 2024, which means this will always give you the previous year profit, not current year profit. Clear? Huh? This will give you which year profit, current year or previous year?
Previous year.
This will always give you previous year profit. Current year profit, it will carry forward to the next year. Current year profit you will be able to see in 2025. So this I will show you practically by passing entries in last year, current year. I'll show you all the migrations, balance carry forward from one year to another year. I'll explain you the logics, how your opening balance is calculated in the retained earnings account, how your closing balance will be calculated, because if you see the closing balance, opening balance, they will not match. Right? If you look at current year closing balance, if you look at next year opening balance, they do not match in the retained earnings account, for which there is a logic. So you have to see it from a different point of view. You should not verify the closing opening balance in the retained earnings account. So this I will show you practically. Maybe once we complete the balance sheet, we will pass the entries in 2-3 years. We will migrate the data from one year to another year. Then we will understand how balances are updated for your retained earnings account in real time. Clear how your
Sir,
retained earnings account is showing the balance? Yes.
sir, for this activity, any accounting document also getting generated?
For balance carry forward, there is no accounting entry. You can run this as many times as you want.
Okay.
Okay, there will be no accounting entry when you perform year-end closing. In short, the balance carry forward will not generate any financial document.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, having seen this, let us proceed to the balance sheet, because in balance sheet, this retained earnings account will play a key role. Retained earnings account is nothing but P&L result. Retained earnings is nothing but P&L result. Remember, retained earnings account will not have any posting. This is only a running balance display. This will just display the running balance, but this will not have any posting. If you see the GL account balance, you are able to see an amount here, but this amount is appearing here. Is there anything showing here debit, credit for the month, or it is only displaying the balance?
Only
Do you
displaying
find
the
any debit, any credit? There is no debit, there is no credit. In short, this GL account has not been posted with any debit, has not been posted with any credit. This is just a real-time figure. Let's say last year, which is 2023, you posted some entry. After finalizing this, let's say I posted one entry for 11,000 expense. If I post an expense for 11,000, what will happen? Will my profit become 1,11,000 or it will come down to 1 lakh? At this
Will come
stage, if
down
I
to
pass an entry for 11,000, my profit will come down to 1 lakh. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
right? Now, assuming I have performed year-end activity now, which means I have executed balance carry forward today. Now, by mistakenly, knowingly or unknowingly, I posted one adjustment entry for 11,000 in a P&L account. I posted one adjustment entry in P&L account. I was under an impression that this retained earnings account is a real-time number. Automatically, this will get updated. Correct? It's a running balance. It's a real-time updation that will happen to retained earnings. But my assumption is wrong in this scenario. If I pass an entry for 11,000 in my P&L account, in my expense, when you look at this account balance here, retained earnings account balance, it will still show 1,11,000 because after passing the additional adjustment entry, you should again rerun the balance carry forward. If you run the balance carry forward again, then this 1,11,000 will become 1 lakh. Otherwise, it will show 1,11,000 only. Then when you run the P&L report, here you will be able to see 1 lakh. After posting that 11,000 entry in expense, your profit will become 1 lakh here. Financial statement version will display 1 lakh. And if you look at your balance carry forward or retained earnings account, it will show 1,11,000 because after posting the additional entry, balance carry forward will have to be executed once again to reflect the current balances. Otherwise, you will end up looking at the wrong balances. Sometimes this also comes as a support ticket, especially during the year end. You can tell after performing the balance carry forward, users had passed additional entries, but they forgot to run the balance carry forward again.
Sir, here, one doubt, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello. Sir, here cash balances, furniture, advance rent, capital return, these are all are closing balances. Here is
Correct. Closing balance at the year end.
here.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because your balance sheet accounts will get carry forwarded to the next year as it is, but your P&L accounts will not be carry forwarded to the next year. All your P&L account balances will be closed at the year end. The sum of your P&L accounts will be transferred to retained earnings account. If sum of P&L is credit, profit. If sum of P&L is debit, loss. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. All right. Now let us get back to the financial statement version. We are clear with P&L. Now what we need to do is the balance sheet. Let us identify the balance sheet, how we will design the balance sheet. To define the financial statement version, transaction code is OB58. Point number 1, you can go to OB58, go to position, identify your financial statement version. We created PNIN. Let me select this PNIN, and from here I can click on financial statement items. Select your version, click on financial statement items. You will come to this screen. This is one way. Option number 2, you can directly access FSE2 transaction code. FSE2 is the direct T code for accessing financial statement version, or you can go to OB58, select your financial statement version, click on FS items. You will come here. When you define this balance sheet, you have to pay attention on this special items or the red highlighted items. There are certain items which are highlighted in red. These are normally called as special items in your financial statement version. People might ask you, what are the special items in your financial statement version? When somebody is asking you what is a special item in your financial statement version, be very sure these are the special items. Point number 1, financial statement notes not assigned, P&L result, profit, loss, liabilities and equity, assets. Now these things cannot be directly assigned to a GL account. These things cannot be directly assigned to a GL account. You are not supposed to assign these red highlighted items directly to the GL account. Clear? Now out of this, in your balance sheet, from your P&L, which balance will get moved? From your P&L, what balance will get moved to balance sheet?
Profit and loss.
Return on
Net profit or net
Profit and
loss?
loss. Right. Either you get profit or you get loss. From this special items, do you get profit loss?
Yes, sir.
When I say special item, you have to understand special item is always highlighted with red background. From the special item, you have a profit, you have a loss. You have something called net result loss. This is called as P&L loss or net loss. You have another thing called net result loss. This is nothing but P&L loss. If your P&L is giving profit, that amount will reflect in the profit. If your P&L is giving loss, that amount will reflect in the loss automatically. Okay, so you may get profit, you may get loss from your P&L. Both are possible, correct? Either you may get profit or you may get loss. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So either profit or loss, where is it reflected? In your asset or in your liabilities?
liabilities.
Sir, liability
Your
side.
profit or your loss will go to liabilities. Now this P&L profit, this P&L loss must be represented under another special item called liability. Do you have any special item called liability? Is there a special
Yes,
item
sir.
called liability? This is the liability
Yes, sir, we have.
special item. In this liability, you have to group your P&L profit, your P&L loss. In short, liabilities, profit, loss will go together. Liabilities, profit, loss will go together. Next one, your asset. When you talk about asset, under asset, do you take anything from P&L or asset is straightforward?
Straightforward.
Sir, straightforward.
Asset is straightforward. There is nothing coming from P&L to asset. From P&L to liability, you get profit or loss. That is why you have liabilities separately, you have profit, loss separately. In short, asset is a standalone special item. Liabilities, profit, loss, these three will go together into the balance sheet. Now, the other things, whatever you have, financial statement notes, this is not mandatory. This is just an optional. If you wanted to write any notes in your financial statement, you can update this. Normally, we don't use this financial statement notes. Next one, not assigned. When you talk about not assigned, you may have different GL accounts. Maybe certain GL accounts you do not want to include in your profit loss calculation. I want to post the entry, but I want to exclude the GL account from my profit loss calculation. In such a scenario, you will put something called not assigned, wherein you will exclude certain GL accounts from your financial statement. Next one, you have P&L result. This P&L result is nothing but the outcome of your profit and loss statement. This P&L result is not supposed to be shown under any report, under any category. P&L report, P&L result is not supposed to be shown under P&L account. This is not supposed to be shown under balance sheet also. This is again a standalone thing. Clear? P&L result is not to be displayed anywhere. P&L result is not to be displayed anywhere, which means either in P&L or in balance sheet, you are not supposed to show this special item called P&L result. If you want, you can show this as a separate group, but not to be included in your balance sheet, not to be included in your P&L, in your profit and loss statement. Clear these points? From this list, you need to segregate 3 into liabilities, 1 into asset. The rest 3 are not reflected or are not relevant to your P&L balance sheet. The 3 that are not relevant to your P&L balance sheet are financial statement notes, not assigned, P&L result. These 3 will not have any impact, or these 3 are not supposed to be part of your P&L, your balance sheet. If you are including them, you may be doing wrong in your P&L, in your balance sheet. Okay. So first thing what we will do, which one is critical in your balance sheet? which one will ideally give you that your balance sheet is going to get tallied with your liability or with your asset? Which one is critical?
Blood.
We can't hear if you are speaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So where you lost my voice? I think some network fluctuation here. Okay, you understood this special items, right? Which one to be considered in your balance sheet, which one not to be considered either in balance sheet or in P&L. Right? Financial statement notes not assigned P&L result is not considered either in P&L or in balance sheet. Net result loss, net result profit, liabilities are to be taken into your liabilities. Asset is directly in asset. First, what we will do for creating any balance sheet, you have two items. One is liability, the other one is asset. Asset is straightforward. Liabilities is somewhat tricky because you need to get some amount from P&L. You need to make sure data from your P&L is properly flowing to your balance sheet. Otherwise, you will end up getting the difference in your balance sheet. Asset, liability may not match if your P&L values are not properly flowing to your balance sheet. We need to ensure that these points are properly taken care and you get the logic clearly so that there is no point of confusion how you are tallying your balance sheet in your financial statement version. First, what I will do, I will try to tally my asset. First, I will try to tally my asset. Why I am tallying my asset? To make sure that asset is a standalone, is a straightforward. There is no dependency on the asset. Am I correct? If you are able to find out what is your asset value properly, this asset value will become your total balance sheet value. Based on it, you will decide whether your balance sheet liability value is correct or not. So I am going to create asset. For that, what I will do, I will take this asset into the balance sheet. Correct? Asset is supposed to be in balance sheet heading. Yes, no? To select this, I will click on this. I'll be clicking on this icon, select. I'll click on select. Now I want this asset to reflect inside the balance sheet. I want this inside the balance sheet. Let me select balance sheet. Now I will click on this icon called reassign. Click on this. It is asking whether you want this at the same level as balance sheet or inside the balance sheet. Do we need same level at balance sheet or we need inside the balance sheet asset? Where is it required?
inside the balances.
Right.
Your asset is supposed to reflect inside the balance sheet. If it is required inside the balance sheet, it is always subordinate. If you need it inside the balance sheet, it is always a subordinate. If it is same like balance sheet at same level. Currently, if you look at the asset, balance sheet and asset currently are at the same level. Correct? You have to look at these lines. At the same line, you find balance sheet. On the same line, you find the asset. Correct? Currently, your asset, your balance sheet are on the same line. Am I correct? At the same level. Got that point? They both are at the same level. Okay. Now I'll select asset. To select any particular line, click on this click this select icon, tick balance sheet, click on reassign, select subordinate because you want asset to be inside the balance sheet. Now here you got the balance sheet under that asset. Now this you wanted to take it as main group for asset. When you wanted to take this as main group for asset, you just change the description of it. Currently it says no text exists because according to your requirement, according to your accounting principle, your reporting requirement, you can put any group name for this. To update the description, just double click on this. When you do a double click, you get a heading like this. Here you put the heading. I'll put assets. I'll put assets. And if you want start of the group, end of the group, graduated total and all, you can put this. In short, total, subtotal, if you want, you can put this. Currently, I'm not giving any subtotal. Currently, I'm not giving any graduated total. I'm just giving only one heading as asset. And next, you have something called sign change. This is again important point. Normally, this sign change is used to change the sign of the account balance. Normally, when you take, now where do you use debit credit balances? In your P&L or in your balance sheet?
P&L, sir.
Your debit credit is used in the P&L because in the balance sheet there is no concept of debit credit. Agree? Now, if you put this, if you enable this, it will show in a reverse signature. If you put this, debit will show as credit, credit will show as debit. If you don't put this, debit will show as debit, credit will show as credit. In short, if your account balance for any particular GL account is debit, it is supposed to be positive number or negative number?
Positive.
Positive.
If your account balance contains debit balance, it is supposed to be positive number. If you tick this, your account balance will show negative. Okay. Similarly, if an account balance contains credit balance, it should ideally show a negative number. Correct? Credit balance must show a negative number. If you tick this, your credit balance will show positive number. If your client is asking for that, you can use it, but this change will not reflect in the financial statement version. This change will reflect in some other report that I will show later on. Once we see the report, just remind me. I'll show in which report this sign will work. Now I'm clicking on continue. I have given the heading of asset. Now inside the asset, we need to create different subgroups because asset is a main group of your balance sheet. Inside the asset, you have different sub assets like fixed asset, current asset, cash, bank and all you will be having. What I will do, I'll select this asset. This is your main group. Inside the asset, I will be creating create items because within asset, I want subgroups. Here I will put, let's say, fixed assets. I'll say cash balances, bank balances, inventory, accounts receivable, deposits, investments, prepaid expenses. Likewise, whatever the category that your client is using, they will share the list. All that list you will be providing. Once you put all the groupings here, click on continue. Once you click on continue,
Till how many
yeah,
groupings we can define here, sir?
you can create as many as you want.
Okay.
Okay, you have defined all the assets. Now, whatever you do it, first save it, continue. You should always make sure you activate, otherwise your changes will get saved but will not be reflected on the output. You should click on activate. Okay. Now all the GL accounts that we have in asset, you have to group according to this. If you have again subgroupings within fixed asset, let's say within fixed asset, I have something like land and building, plant and machinery, next I'll say furniture and fittings, computers, motor vehicles, something like this. If I have, I can put all this. Let's say within fixed asset, I want to create another group, something like accumulated depreciation. I can create all this. The way you want to structure your balance sheet, in the similar way, you have to keep creating group, subgroup as per your requirement. Now, I'm not assigning any GL accounts here. All this proper GL account assignment, we will do it for our actual company code DEIN. Next one, similarly, cash account, bank account, inventory, whatever you have, you can create. Now, all this grouping will be shared to you by your user. They will give you a balance sheet format. In short, the printout they will give to you on the paper, whatever the actual P&L balance sheet that they have generated from their legacy systems, or the format that is used in their organization will be given to you. Along with, you need to ask in which format you need the data to map it in your SAP, because you need the data according to SAP financial statement requirement. Their data may be in line with SAP data, or their data may not be in line with SAP data. It is your responsibility to make sure whatever the data that you are receiving from your client is in a proper format, is in line with your SAP financial statement version. Wherever you find any gaps that you need to make them understand in SAP, this is how it will be displayed. Please give us grouping names like this, subgroup like this. If they are unable to understand what you are explaining, you need to take out some other company code, run the report on the test system, show them and make them understand how data comes from SAP. Accordingly, you need to make them understand to prepare the data. Got my point? Because they might understand, they may not understand. It is your responsibility to convince your client to make them understand and get the data whatever the format that you want. Now, for now, let me assign all the asset related GL accounts in cash balances. This is only for the test purpose. I am assigning everything in cash balances. Actually, we need to assign all the GL accounts according to the nature of account. Based on the account group that we created, accordingly we need to create. Since we have only the limited transactions, I am assigning everything under cash accounts for time being. Let me select cash account. I'll go to assign accounts. Here I will select the range of all the GL accounts for assets, because I am trying to represent total assets under cash accounts. In general, if not this case, you will have to create only the GL account number range of cash balances. In your OBD4 GL account group, you would have created account number range for cash accounts. Whatever the range is created, this range you need to input here. For now, I am trying to put all the asset related number ranges, in short one series, 1 followed by all zeros, next 1 followed by all lines. Now I want to make sure I want system to display both debit and credit balances of the account. If I put only debit, what system will do? It will display only if the account has debit balance. If the account contains credit balance, it will ignore it. But that is not correct. You must ensure debit, credit both are enabled. If credit is not enabled, if any of the account contains credit balance, that will be ignored. Similarly, if you don't tick debit, if any of the account contains debit balance, it will be ignored. You need to make sure debit, credit. This also people will ask you in your interview, why do you put debit credit indicator checkbox? To make sure whether the account contains a debit balance or it contains the credit balance. it will be part of your financial statement version. It will be displayed in your balance sheet or P&L. Click on continue and let me save this. According to this, our balance sheet assets are mapped, correct? Because balance sheet is straightforward, we have given all the asset number ranges in the asset. Now, as per this, is your balance sheet asset mapping completed or anything pending? Is it complete?
Capital
Asset, only asset.
assets completed.
Assets completed, right? Now, let us go to the financial statement version. Let me try to execute the report now. If I try to execute the report, this is how you are getting. You are getting balance sheet. P&L, let me minimize. Inside the balance sheet, I am able to get this number. 111100 is the balance sheet asset number. Let us go to our manual calculated balance sheet. Our manual calculated balance sheet is also 111100, correct? Is this number matching? This is matching with your asset numbers from financial statement version. Now, is it straightforward or there is any complexity in the asset mapping in your balance sheet? Straightforward. Whatever the GL accounts that you have in your balance sheet asset, as it is, all the GL account balances will be extracted. By default, it will be correct. Now, the next portion in balance sheet is your liabilities. Let me now open liabilities. Now, for liabilities, what you need to do, you need to take this into liability part. Now, this is what liability, where this should reflect inside the balance sheet, correct? I need to take it inside the balance sheet. To take it inside the balance sheet, first I need to select this. For selecting this, click on this, either F9 on the keyboard or click on this icon. Now select the next icon where you want to move it. I want to move it inside the balance sheet. Select the balance sheet, click on reassign. Now you want this inside the balance sheet or at the same level of a balance sheet. You want this inside the balance sheet. Select subordinate, click on continue. When you click on continue, again you need to look at here whether you want asset to reflect first or you want liability to reflect first. You should also know how to shuffle the positions. Currently it is appearing here. To change the text, just double click on this. I will put liabilities here. I'm not taking this plus minus change. You understood this functionality, right? Positive negative sign change. If you put this, account will show the reverse signature. Positive will show negative, negative will show positive. Click on continue. I'm not using it. Now it has updated as liabilities. Inside the liabilities, you will be having different categories. Select the liabilities, click on create items within liabilities. You will be having, let's say, capital. You will have reserves. You will have retained earnings. You will have accounts payable. Next, bank loans, outstandings, expenses. Any other things in liabilities? Let's say these are your liabilities that you have. Click on continue. Now in liabilities you have a number range. You have a number range which starts from 2 series. Normally when you put the total number range for your liabilities, you need to exclude the retained earnings. You need to exclude retained earnings because retained earnings is a different treatment. There are no direct postings to retained earnings account. So what you will do, I will be assigning all the GL accounts here except retained earnings account. So I'll put everything under capital. Okay, I'll select capital. Let me click on assign accounts. On this screen, 2 series is what we need to take. I'll take 2 series. I'm not taking all the 2 series. I'll take the GL account excluding retained earnings account. 221 all zeros is retained earnings account. I will exclude this GL account from this list. So I'll take 220. Sorry, 221 is there. So I'll take 222 all zeros. Debit credit, correct? I should take 220 and 221 is there. So it has to be 220. Now what I am trying to do, I am trying to exclude this retained earnings GL account from that asset range. Retained earnings GL account is 221. So I took 220 here, so that 221 is excluded, correct? Next range I will take 222 all zeros.
Sir, in the first one, it should be 220 all lines, right? In the 2 account.
Yeah. 220, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you're right. Now here it should be 222 till 2 all lines. Now is this excluding 221 alone? Correct me if I am wrong. Our intention is to exclude 221 all zeros GL account alone.
It should be 221 all zeros 1 in the from account. 221 all zeros 1. We want to exclude only one, right? 221 all zeros
Yeah.
we want to exclude. Yeah. The next one we should take.
221 all zeros 1. This is retained earnings manual. So let me take 2 from 2 onwards. Clear?
Yes.
221 all zeros and 221 all zeros 1 is retained earnings GL accounts. Put these two so that you are taking all the liabilities at one position excluding retained earnings account. Click on continue. Next one, you have something called retained earnings account, correct? Select this retained earnings account. Inside the retained earnings account, click on assign GL accounts. In this 221 all zeros to 221 all zeros 1. These are two retained earnings account GLs. Click on save this. Now the reason why I have taken like this, according to our scenario, we are trying to put everything in one category. All the assets we have kept in one category for testing purpose, and all the liabilities we are going to take at one position for the testing purpose. But we know asset is straightforward, you took at one position, but liability is not straightforward. Liability is dependent on your P&L. Whatever the data is coming from your P&L into the liability will have to be segregated. You have to segregate P&L dependent data on the liability inside the retained earnings account strictly. Whatever the retained earnings GL account that you have, that must be under retained earnings category. That is what I have done here. Otherwise, I could have taken everything here if liability is straightforward. Since it is not straightforward, I have taken the GL account which has a dependency on the P&L. Clear? Clear? Why did I take like this? Normally, when you put everything according to the grouping, this confusion will not come. You may get confused only for the reason why I am taking this alone, because this is dependent on P&L. Now this has been saved. Let me go to financial statement version now. Earlier this was not showing any liabilities. Let me go back now. Click on execute. If I click on execute, are we able to see the balance sheet liabilities now? You are able to see the balance sheet liabilities. Let me minimize P&L. Let me minimize all other things. Are my assets and liabilities matching, or there is any difference? Are
Not
they
matching.
matching, or there is a difference?
Same.
There is a difference. There is a difference of how much this is 1 all zeros, this 1 followed by 111 000. In short, 111 000 is the difference. That difference is straightforward your P&L figure, correct? Whatever the difference you got from your P&L,
Yes, sir.
that difference alone is the difference in your liabilities. That P&L figure is not appearing under liabilities. Is that clear? Your P&L result is not appearing in the liabilities side, correct? From P&L, what are the two possibilities?
Profit and loss.
Profit, loss. Now let's go to financial statement version. If you go to financial statement version, you have something called net result profit, net result loss. This profit or loss is supposed to be reflected under retained earnings. If you want, you can take retained earnings. Inside the retained earnings, if you want, you can create another group called P&L result, or you can directly assign this under this. I will select loss, click on this. I want this loss to be reflected under this. You can option number 1 select one by one. You can also select multiple at a time. Let me select loss and profit together. Now I am able to select two at a time, correct? Likewise, you can select multiple at a time and reassign at a time. I want this profit loss to be reflected inside the retained earnings account. Let me select a retained earnings account. I'll click on this, reassign. Let's see if system will accept inside the retained earnings account or not. I think it is getting stuck. It is stuck. Okay, it has come up. Now this P&L profit, P&L loss should be reflected inside the liability under a group called retained earnings account. I want this two to be reflected under subordinate of retained earnings account. select this. Now is this giving any option or this is not giving any option? Is this allowing us to save or not? The flagged node cannot be moved to the target node. It is telling you cannot move this to the retained earnings account. Let me try once again. These are already selected. I will select retained earnings account. I'll try to move again. Subordinate. Is system accepting or not accepting? It is not accepting. Now what I will do, inside the retained earnings account, I will create an item. Inside the retained earnings, let me create one item. Now I'll put PNL result here. I'll put PNL result. I'll click on continue. One sec. This is supposed to be under retained earnings account. I'll select this. I'll take this inside a retained earnings account. Click on reassign, subordinate, continue. Now it is telling you cannot do it. Why it is giving me this error message? Wherever you assign a GL account, that is the last stage. Once you assign the GL account, you cannot assign any group, you cannot assign any special items to the node where your GL accounts are assigned. If you look at retained earnings account, under this retained earnings, are there GL assignment or not? Do it directly.
Yes, sir.
To the retained earnings account, did we have GL assignment to this group directly? Now these GL accounts are directly reflecting or directly representing retained earnings, correct? Which means this group directly contains the GL account. Wherever the group directly contains the GL account, that group cannot have the special items, that group cannot have subnodes, because this is the last stage. At last stage you are going to assign the GL account. Now system is correct doing this, it is stopping us. Now what I will do, I am not going to assign this under retained earnings. Instead what I will do, I'll try to remove this GL account. If I want this to reflect under retained earnings account, first I'll remove this. I'll select, I'll click on delete. This is option number 1. Okay. I'm not able to delete this. So what I'll do, I'll select this, select again, I'll try to delete. Is this allowing me to delete? Now all these additions, modifications, deletions, reassignment, regrouping, you have to be very good at. Right? Majority of your work revolves around these areas when you are working in a project. Now I want to delink or remove this GL account from this retained earnings account for the reason that I have assigned incorrectly. Now I will select this group and I'll try to delete. I'm able to delete it now. For deletion, you are not supposed to select it. Let me click on save, activate, continue, OK. Now inside the retained earnings account, let us try to add 2 more items. One is calculated profit. Next, retained earnings last year. Calculated profit current year. Clear? Once I'll put retained earnings of last year, and once I'll put retained earnings or calculated profit current year. Let me take current year because the profit that you're coming or that is coming from your P&L is current year. Let me select this and I'll try to move these two from here to here. Let us check if system allows us now. Select loss, select profit also, and then move these two inside the calculated profit current year. Subordinate. Now it allowed you to take these two inside the calculated profit current year. Next one, retained earnings last year. Retained earnings last year. Let me select the GL account assignment. This is 221 all zeros until 221001. These are the GL account balances of last year, because whenever you carry forward, the last year balances will reflect. Correct? Last year balances will reflect when you carry forward. Current year balance will reflect as calculated figure. Let me click on save now. Activate. Continue. Okay. Now let us verify if our balance sheet tallies or not. I'll go back. Before making the changes, liability asset were not agreeing. Let me come back and I will execute once again. Now if I check, is my balance sheet tallying? Is it becoming zero or not? Assets or liabilities are equal or there is any difference?
Equal.
They are tallying now. Correct? If you look at liabilities, you will find the capital. Inside the capital, you will see all the other liability balances. And if you look at retained earnings, inside the retained earnings, it is giving you calculated profit current year. This is giving you calculated profits current year. Your GL account balance for last year retained earnings account will reflect as running figure, because that does not have any GL account, that will not be part of this account. That I will show you once we run the carry forward activity. At that time we will revisit this screen to understand what is happening to your previous year profits when you perform the year end activity or when you perform carry forward. Clear? Now this is your balance sheet liabilities and asset. Whatever you have, the remaining headings inside your configuration. Now let me minimize liabilities and balance sheet. You have something called not assigned, you have something called financial statement notes, you have something called P&L result. These three things, if you want, you can use it. If you do not want, you can ignore them as it is. Even in real environment, if you do not want this, you can ignore them as it is, because you are concerned about only P&L, only the balance sheet. These are not mandatory to be used. If you want to add any GL account under non-assigned category, which you are not including either in your P&L or in your balance sheet, for that you can create another group, and then you can take this not assigned into the another group called unassigned or not assigned. This P&L result, you can create another group called P&L result if you want. Let's say I'll create another group. I call it as P&L result. Sorry, this has come out. Let me take this out from this and add it under this. Reassign, subordinate, P&L result. Now if I want this P&L result to be appeared after my balance sheet, I need to select this and I will select balance sheet. I'll click on reassign, and I want this to be at the same level. Click on same level, continue. Now it has taken the next position after balance sheet. Now what I can do, I can take this P&L result, select, I can put this inside my P&L result. This I will reassign. I will say a subordinate. Now inside the P&L result, this has gone up. This is your P&L result. Financial statement notes, you can put one more category if you want. Create items, FS notes. Under FS note, you can take this, put this under FS note, reassign, subordinate. Now this FS note you want to take at the last position. Select this, select P&L result, click on reassign, same level. Now it has taken the last position. Last one is not assigned. If you want this, create another item. You can put unassigned. Inside the unassigned, take this not assigned, select, move it under unassigned, subordinate. Now take this and take it to the last position. Select this, FS item, move to the same level. Now in short, you have covered everything that was there on your financial statement items. All the special items have been grouped to the respective categories. Click on save this finally. Activate. Continue. OK. Now let us go back to the financial statement and run this report once again. When you run this once again, this is how you will get. Minimize everything. You got three categories. Your P&L is giving you the 111,000 negative number, which means a profit. Balance sheet is 0. You can see the asset liability amount. This is just a dummy number. You can ignore this number. P&L result not to be considered. You are focusing only on P&L, only on the balance sheet. This is only a running number, not to be used. If you are looking at it, you are not supposed to connect this P&L result either to balance sheet or to P&L. This is a standalone figure. If I come back, you have an option here called as structured balance list. If I select as a structured balance list, if I execute, observe the differences. If I select this, is my balance sheet tallying or not tallying now? Is my balance sheet 0?
Yes, sir.
Is my balance sheet 0? If I go to balance sheet, is my asset liability matching?
No.
No, sir.
My liabilities is showing 1 all zeros, asset is showing 1 all ones. Now there is a mismatch if I select balance as per structured. In short, if I tick this as structured balance list, system is going to display only the account balances for which you have maintained GL mapping. Wherever GL mapping is there, only for those GL account balances will be displayed. But is your profit is a GL balance or is it a calculated figure? Your P&L profit, P&L loss, is it a GL account balance or is it a calculated figure?
calculated figure.
It is a calculated figure. Calculated figures will not appear if you select as structured balance list. If this is enabled, GL account balances will appear and the calculated figures will not appear. If you do not enable this, GL account balance plus calculated figures will appear. In short, in your financial statement version, if you want to see the balance sheet with zero or tallied balance sheet, you must not tick this. This is another point you will be questioned in your interview. What is the purpose of as a structured balance list? If you tick this, your balance sheet will not be tallied because calculated figures will disappear if you tick this. Now, if I don't tick this, let me run the report. You will be able to see all these things, but you need to ignore the P&L result. That's it. Look at only P&L, look at only balance sheet. Clear? Now, is your balance sheet tallying?
Yes.
Is it tallying now? Asset liabilities?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, one more point that we discussed about the GL account sign. Now, especially your debit credits are applicable for P&L. If I look at the P&L, how your income is showing? Your income is showing positive number or a negative number?
Negative number.
Income is showing a negative number, expense is showing a positive number, which is correct according to accounting. Debit all expenses, credit all incomes, it is showing properly. For example, if you want to change the signature, I want positive to show negative, negative to show positive. In short, I want all my expenses to show negative number, all my incomes to show a positive number. For this requirement, you will have this option here. If I go to P&L statement, if I select this, wherever you have assigned GL accounts, select that. Currently inside the operating income, I have it. Let me double click on this. I want to tick this. Now, according to the understanding, if you tick this, what will happen? Debit amount will become credit amount become debit amount. Correct? Income, I did this. Let me do it for expenses. Expense also, I'll put this. Continue. Let me save it. Now, according to the current setting, income should show positive number or negative number.
Positive number.
Positive.
Income to show positive number, expense to show a negative number. Changes are saved. Let me go back to this report. Financial statement. Currently, if you look at income negative, expense positive, we are expecting a reverse signature. Income positive, expense negative. I will come out of this screen completely. F.01 once again. Company code PNIN and a report from period number 626. Comparative is also 626. Execute. Is there any difference or they are appearing same as it was before? Any change happened?
No, sir. No.
There is no change happened even though you put that setting. Now that setting will not reflect in your financial statement version. That change will reflect in a different report if you put there. That report is this one. What is your trial balance report? S underscore PL0 underscore 86000030. This is your trial balance. Now that change is applicable for this report 28. The change whatever you did there is applicable in the report S underscore PL0 underscore 860000300028. Let me open this report. This is also your financial statement, actual comparison. Currency type I'll take 10. Company code currency. Company code is PNIN. Next, I'll come down. Here your financial statement version. Our version is PNIN. Ledger, I want the data from leading ledger 0L. Reporting year is 2023. Reporting from period number 6. Reporting to period number 6. I want to compare this June 2023 with May 2023. Clear so far? This input criteria. You need to go based on the heading so that you will understand what to input there. Financial statement version, ledger, reporting year, and then comparative year. Next, click on object list, more than one lead column, execute. If I do this, now observe here, you have something called FS item. Look at expenses. Sales is an income. Sales is appearing as what? Debit or credit?
Credit.
Sales. Is this a positive number, negative number for sales?
Negative number.
Negative number. Is there any change or it is appearing as per before as it is?
As it is,
It is appearing as it is. There is no change. Now let me go back. In this report, now I will select the classic drill down report. From this, if I select classic drill down report, if I click on execute, now if I open the PNL, if you look at this, if you look at this, and if you look at this, operating expenses. Now, is your purchase showing positive number or negative number?
Negative.
Sales.
Positive.
Now here it is showing reverse signature or the same signature.
reverse.
It is showing reverse. If you look at this here, sales is showing 7,50,000, debit positive number here. On your other financial statement, if you look at the sales is showing a negative number here. 7,50,000 minus is here, and if you see here 7,50,000 without minus, correct? Clear? This is where it will reflect if you are selecting that positive negative signature sign on the FS items. On your financial statement comparison report, in short S underscore PL0 86000028, on the drill down report it will reflect those changes. Let me go back. Do you want to save the data first? No, I don't want to save. And if I select graphical report output, PNL, income, operating income, In this graphical report also, it is showing a positive number. Correct? Though the total heading is showing negative, but if you go inside, if you drill down the report, you will be able to see the reverse signature. Sales is supposed to be a negative number, but it is displaying a positive number. This is because of this setting here. This is because of this setting. Normally you don't put this. If you put this, that is the functionality. I'll remove this setting. I'll remove it for operating expense also. I'll click on save it, activate, continue. Clear? Especially you need to pay attention on this liability part. You need to understand where to place your P&L profit, P&L loss properly here. If you take the retained earnings, you need to properly put current year profit, last year profit. Last year is a fixed number, current year is always a running number. Agree? Correct? Because the moment you pass the entry, the amount will keep on fluctuating. Yes or no? Any P&L entry is posted will have an impact on your profit loss figure. That is why this is always a calculated figure. Once you close the year, that is where it will become a fixed number. Any doubts, questions on this? So we will also perform year-end activities. Once we perform year-end closing, that time I will show again how your last year profits will reflect on your P&L, on your financial statement, how the current year profit will be reflected. So there you will have complete understanding of it. Since we have to pass the entries in the last year or in the next year to be able to see it, I am not able to show right now. Any questions on this?
Sir, for same chart of account, can you have more than one financial statement versions?
Sorry? For the same chart of account, you can create multiple financial statement versions in different formats possible. Is that what your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. For same chart of account, you can create multiple financial statement versions. Based on the financial statement version, it is going to display the results. Alright, if no other questions, let me stop this recording.